at the time of the election, we were looking at the way the Republican Party was responding, trying to basically sell out the pro-life movement to try to win the election. And they changed the Republican Party platform to support abortion to 27 weeks. They started supporting the abortion pill, which since 2003 has made up over 60% of abortions. And so when the presidential candidates on the Republican side went out and said that they support the abortion pill, they were claiming that they supported more than half of abortion. Then they lobbied in Arizona, the Republican candidates, to fight against the full abortion ban that was in Arizona. We had a full abortion ban, which is best case scenario. They lobbied them to fight.
Full abortion meaning what? Going back to...
Meaning that there is no abortion in the state of Arizona, which is what we were fighting for. And they fought to overturn that and put into place what we have now, which is the exact opposite, to where a woman for any reason can go murder her baby the day before it's born, and the language is so vague that perhaps it even lends itself to, in the future, someone committing full-blown infanticide, killing their baby outside the womb. Now, that hasn't happened yet, thank God, but you know, the point we make is what's the difference if
so you lost the donors because...
Well, because I knew that if enough of us spoke out, the way these candidates work, they operate off of two things. Number one is money and donors. If they lose donors because of their opinions, then they can't win the election. And so they'll fold if their donors pull out. And then the other motivator is fear of backlash from certain groups of people. And because if they lose a strong enough coalition, then they could also lose the election. And if you have a bunch of pro-life leaders coming out and saying that, no, we're mad, don't go out and vote, well, then they will fold, they will change their opinion, and then we as well will tell people, actually, we talked to them, go vote, right? And it's so sad because Trump came out and said that essentially, Florida's bans go too far when he was asked about Amendment 4, which was on the ballot would have been a full abortion access law to where we would have that here in Florida. You could murder your baby to the day of birth for any reason. And so when he said that, that was my line in the sand where I said, I do not care how many donors I lose. I have to say something. And within 24 hours, his team was calling me.
But the donors were leaving you just because they were pragmatic about their support of the president?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand that.
Well, yeah. I said, essentially, like, we will never get what we want if we're always voting for the lesser of two evils. Mm-hmm. If you're always voting for the lesser of two evils, that is all you will ever get. And in fact, the lesser of two evil will continue to become more and more and more evil because they know they can.
But what was their reason for leaving you?
Gosh, because I think they really like Trump. And I think that the way that people's motivation is in elections, the main motivator for the voter is fear. It wasn't so much that there was a certain percentage that liked Trump, but there was also a lot who just feared Kamala. And I get that. But at the same time, when we look at Scripture, nowhere in Scripture does it tell us to fear. In fact, it's the exact opposite. In Psalm 23, it says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
I shall fear no evil.
I shall fear no evil because thou art with me. And so where I was is I knew what I was doing. I knew I was, oh man. But if we can't even stand up to the court of public opinion, how do we know that we're going to be able to stand up against Satan? Like, truly, that is the logical conclusion. If I'm not willing to say something that is truthful and hopefully make a difference, because I'm going to lose my donors, how am I going to stand up against Satan? And Michael Collins, he was an Irish revolutionary.
Yeah.
He has this great quote, and I'm not sure if it's actually real or not. I like to pretend it is. But he said, if the price of peace is the blackening of my name, then I will gladly pay. And it's where in moments like that, the wheat separates from the chaff. And so there was me and one other pro-life leader who I will not.
You can't name.
I will not name because there was NDAs signed.
Oh.
Who were
You signed the NDAs.
I didn't, but somebody else did, and they asked me not to. But essentially, we were leveraging the Trump team. Within 24 hours of making my statement, they called me. And
Who's they?
The Trump team. And so here I was in my bedroom with $50 in my bank account, talking to the presidential team. Like,
who called you?
One of their campaign guys. I don't even remember their name, but we were negotiating like what they could do to try to win our support in the pro-life movement.
What is your price? Because if your price is not your life, then you are for sale.